What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati, and as always, I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Choops. I like that shirt you were wearing. I did not realize you got that from Winegeist.
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. The podcast mom came through in the clutch, buying me this fantastic t-shirt. That was a great time. But, hey, I'm here with you. And Fernando popping in
the house already.
Immediately. What up, Fernando?
That's a fan right there. We greatly appreciate having you in chats. And Mr. OTM is out here. He has got the bear emoji. Yes, we have a big episode tonight with a special guest that we're super excited to have on here. But before we introduce him, thank you to everybody that has joined us this evening. As always, you can find us on X and TikTok at Junkies Pod. You can like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod. But most importantly, do us a huge favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Podcast Dad, we're on the road to 500 subscribers. I believe the current tally right now is 473. We are so close. Please tell everybody out there what they should do.
Please just tell one person if you like what we're doing. Subscribe to our channel. That's it. We have fun interviews. We have fun, witty banter. There might or may not be a very nervous podcast ad over the next NFL season because somebody got on Madden cover, and I'm very nervous about that. So, hey, we're here, but subscribe to the channel, please.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one in a second. No. Spread the word about the Wrestling Junkies podcast. Tell your mom, your dad, your situationship, sneaky link, dispensary person, bartender, therapist.
Your love after lockup. Tell them.
Yes. Yeah. It's a really good show if you haven't watched it yet. Also, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is definitely a low-key banger right there. It's fucked, but it's entertaining as shit.
Nope. I will not. Just like the tape from Coastal Empire. Nope. Don't want to talk about it.
Okay, well, Bryce might be joining us this week, so you just want to stay off the show?
I'll talk to Bryce. I'll talk to Bryce.
About the tape?
No. I'm about to leave right now. Don't do that.
Coastal Empire Wrestling's Coastal Case Files is in the books. That show should be dropping, I believe, next week on YouTube. I will be sitting down with Bryce Cannon. I know nothing about the results of what happened this past weekend. Also.
Will I be there?
You don't want to talk about the damn tape.
Well, no, we don't have to talk about the tape. We can talk about Bryce and his triumphant return to professional wrestling. Come on. Making waves out there.
He is. Lariato Pro Wrestling coming up this Saturday. He will be taking on QT Marshall and Matt Hardy in triple threat match for the Lariato Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. That match is sponsored by the Wrestling Junkies podcast. But again, we got to show some love to our friends at the Main Event Wrestling Network at mainevent_net on all social media platforms. If you love great blogs, fan art, memes, shorts, you name it, we have it. Incredible group of people that we work with. So go show some love to the crew. And where would we be without our friends at Gorilla Press Apparel? You can use promo code WJP.
That's where I'd be. Sorry. You said something, and I answered the question. I'm sorry. GorillaPressApparel.BigCartel.com. I don't know where my hat is. My daughter stole my hat because she saw the gorilla on it, but I will find that hat, and I will make sure I wear it this week. Guys, I love the hat. I don't know where she put it, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. Podcast Dad, I think that they have had enough of talking to just us. I think it's time to introduce our guests. And tonight we are joined by one of the most talked about free agents in all of pro wrestling, Bear Bronson. You know him from tearing it up in AEW, Ring of Honor. But now he's carving out a new path on the indies, and he is making some serious noise. We're talking training at Creative Pro to now mentoring the next generation. His journey is nothing short of inspiring. He's wrestled for Beyond, Wrestling Open, Limitless, and he will be stepping into GCW's Cage of Survival for his deathmatch debut. He's a newlywed, a proud member of the LGBTQ wrestling community, and one half of the Savage Gnomes alongside his wife, Gabby Forza. We've got a lot to cover, so let's not waste any more time. Let's welcome Bear Bronson to the show. Bear, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? Happy Pride Month.
Hey, same to you. Thank
you. Greatly appreciate you joining us tonight. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. So here at the Wrestling Junkies podcast, when we look at pro wrestlers, they're superheroes and supervillains that clash essentially. And the one thing that they have in common are origin stories. So Bear, if you could just tell us about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
Jeez. This is an interesting time to talk about this because like my earliest memories, I was just talking to a close friend about this. My introduction to wrestling was Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell. Not live, because when that happened, I was only 3 years old. but my older brother and my cousins were all heavy into wrestling at the time, because who wasn't, right? And they would tape on like blank VHS tapes all the old shows. And I believe I was around 5 years old when I had first started watching all those tapes. And that, I believe that is my earliest memory. And I just never, ever, I was the only person to, like, in my family to, like, never grow out of it, you know. Friends, family, you know, everyone kind of, that Attitude Era was like, everyone was in on it. Even like my childhood, everyone was in on like Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, and everything, like early elementary school. But I was the type that I never grew out of it. And yeah, I mean, just from, not even saying early on, but just the earliest on, wrestling's just always been my whole life. And it was something I always knew I wanted to do. And even playing sports in high school, I actually hate sports. I was always athletic. I played football, a little baseball and stuff like that, but I never, I didn't have the passion or the heart for it that I do with professional wrestling. And I started at Creative Pro Wrestling the second I graduated high school. And that was in 2014. And I never looked back. I tried going to college at the same time. And it just, you know, as you grow as a wrestling student, and professional wrestling very much is, you get out what you put in. And I just wanted to put everything into it. And other things around my personal life had suffered my college. And I'm very lucky that I have a very supportive family. And I had brought this to my parents and said, hey, college is kind of suffering right now because of wrestling. And I'm not giving up wrestling. And they were like, okay, like, you know, we respect that, but like, you know, you're not going to be partying with your friends on the weekend. Now, we don't care if you're booked or not. You're going to be going to shows, helping out, building rings, getting someone's car. Just, you know, you're not, that's not a hobby. If you want this to be a future career, you're not going to treat this like a hobby. You're going to treat it like it is college.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I was like, no problem. You know, that was music to my ears. And then just from there, you know,
those are super supportive parents. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very lucky.
That's awesome.
Very, very lucky. But, and that's in a whole bunch of different areas of my life too. Especially leaving AEW. I had got I knew I was leaving for a while, not to trail off here, not to trail the origin story here. We could touch on this later if you'd like, but, you know, kind of staying on the origin part, I had a phone call with my dad the other day, and this was after AEW officially gave me the call, like the, you know, best of luck, you know, we're not going to renew you, but, you know, and the person that called me, I'm not going to say his name, great guy, but I had shared a laugh with him when he had said, like, you know, you're very excited for you and all this stuff, but we're not going to, you know, we want to thank you, but we're not going to renew. I actually laughed on the other end of the phone because I was like, yeah, I figured, you know, and we had both shared a laugh and we're like, yeah, I know, you know, whatever. But it was a, you know, great uplifting phone call with this gentleman. And I've just been excited. It's no hard feelings at all. But after that phone call, I had a phone call with my dad just to call him and let him know. Cause growing up, that my dad was the person that I truly bonded it with all types of wrestling. And we can get into that later as well. From earliest childhood to even as a teenager, when CZW was in its, you know, glory days, my dad, him and I would go and we would bond it over deathmatch wrestling. And a lot of people don't know that. So I had a phone call with my dad right after I had that phone call, and he was telling me about a construction job that he had when he was in his early 20s. He was just married, and he had told, I did not do this, so I cannot relate to this, but my dad told his boss, because my boss, his boss was giving him a hard time, and he was like, if you don't do this, like if you're not putting in, you know, this extra what I need you to do, you're fired. And my dad's like, well, fuck you, I quit. And he driving home was like crying, like having like, oh my God, I have to tell my wife I just quit my job. That was our way of our means of living.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like something that driving home, he was like, like, it's kind of like a betting on yourself thing. And he driving home scared shitless, having to tell my mom. And my mom was fully supportive, and they ended up being very successful people with their personal businesses. And they from then on became kind of their own bosses. And they my parents really flourished in their in chasing their dreams, and that's something that heavily inspires me. My mom is a very successful nutritionist. She's written a book. She's got other stuff coming out, and it's all things that they pursued themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that always really instilled in me. And when you become a wrestler, you have a lot of people in your personal life kind of like, what are you doing? Because it looks like it looks like you ran away to join the circus. And especially in like your early indie wrestling days. And I've just been the type that's like, man, if my family supports me and they're cool, I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. And that worked out in the long run. I ended up signing my first contract in 2020 with AEW, and I believe that's like 4 or 5 years later. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So,
yeah, like you said, you got the call from AEW, and
Yes.
it is what it is. But the last couple of weeks have been kind of nuts. Mr. Wrestling, C4, Creative Pro, now GCW.
Yeah.
What is your mindset now going into this summer run? Like, what does that look like for you? You talk about having that support. Like, what is Bear Bronson's goal for the summer?
This is going to be another one of those that I go on a long answer here. So just want to prepare you for that. So I believe that at this point in my career now, I'm like 10, 11 years in, and I'm not going to say I ever fell out of love with wrestling, but I do believe I hit a point in AEW where I felt complacent. Just with the role that we were given, and when you're surrounded by a lot of people that pressure you to just be grateful, just be grateful you're getting used for that minute and 30 seconds. Like, you kind of put yourself in this mode of like forcing yourself to be happy with what you're doing. When I'm looking at, my best friends on top of the world becoming world champions, and even, my peers in the locker room chasing the things they want. But I have a lot of people looking down on me saying like, just be happy you're used at all, and that kind of gets to you over time. Like, yeah, okay, I am happy. Even though you're not, so because the truth is, like, having a job with AEW, yeah, that is something that people would kill for. Thousands of wrestlers across the world would kill for that. And I'm so grateful that over the past 4 years, I've gotten to grow as a performer with AEW. And I learned about TV wrestling, how to work cameras, how TV works, which is an entirely different animal than independent wrestling. And I got to work with some like real amazing stars that I grew up watching, share locker rooms with these people, share conversations with these people, good experiences, bad experiences, and lots of just reality checks. And I went through a serious growth period. But I would say everything changed when I had met my wife. So my wife had never, when I had met her, so she's a personal trainer, and a lot of our Creator Pro guys would go to the personal training facility that she works at, and she started training a lot of them in bodybuilding and powerlifting and all this stuff. And she was like, what is this? You guys are all wrestlers? Like, what is that? And they were like, it's local. Just come to a show. She was like, okay. And she did. She loved it. She was like, this is insane. She had discovered that one of her childhood friends was a wrestler, and that's Aaron Rourke. And that blew her mind. And that kind of helped them reconnect. And that is where I'd met her. And I'd met her and fell in love overnight with this person. And this is somebody that has a background in, like, she played female football for about 10 years. And she's a power lifter. She's done powerlifting competitions and has this athletic background. And 6 months into us dating, she was like, what do you think about me being a wrestler? And I was like, I think you should absolutely try that. You know, I'll help you and I'll help you, you know, just give it a try. And if you don't like it, who cares? Just stop. You know, I didn't see any drawback at all. And she is somebody who hit the ground running. And I was along for that entire journey. And this was a period of my life where I was like very unsure of what I was doing. AEW had changed us from Bear Country to Iron Savages. And that is something that I felt like I was being a follower. I didn't feel like I was being a leader. Because I'm the type that's like, if someone throws an idea at us, I'm very open-minded. So I'd never given pushback on that. I kind of just been like, all right, I'll give it a shot, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is a very weird period of my life where I'm making this money. I have a guaranteed check. I'm on salary and all this stuff, and that's fantastic and all. But my passion just isn't there. And being on this journey with my wife and watching her succeed so early on, because she's doing it the way she wants to do it, with her very unique character, her very unique ability, the way that she attacked it. I had told her this many times. She made me fall in love with wrestling all over again, just like I felt when I was a teenager and when I was a child, and made me realize like what is important versus what's not as important as I thought.
Sure.
And I would say that is a huge part in where things really started to change up here. And over time, I'd grown more bitter. I'd grown more like, I would just be on drives and thinking to myself, like, I would watch other people succeed, watch other people do things that I have aspired to do, and thought to myself, like, why am I not doing this? Why am I like, my life is wrestling, but why am I just following what these people say? And I am not taking, you know, the gamble. And another person who was a huge inspiration along that way was Mike Santana. We had watched Mike Santana leave AEW because even though, like, listen, this guy was in the inner circle at one point, like he was doing great. And as time went on, things just, I'm sure many people were in his ear, like, dude, just be grateful. Like, be grateful where you are. And he had the balls to be like, no, this isn't what I want. I want more than this. Sure, the money's fine. The check's fine. But I want more than this, because when we got into wrestling, it was never just about the money. It was about creating a legacy for yourself. And when I had watched him leave and just go attack the world of wrestling, and just to what he's doing now, I mean, just even being on NXT last week was I was smiling from ear to ear the whole time. And I'd spoken to him recently, and one of the things he told me was, you're not starting from square one, you're starting from experience. And that stuck with me like crazy. So I have all of these things and all these, I'm a big universe guy. Me and my mother both are very big. I'm not like I'm not knocking it at all.
Sure.
But I'm not a big God guy. I've never really been very religious. I'm a very big universe guy. Everything happens for a reason. The universe works in really weird ways. And I just, over time, had just been given these signs of like, hey, things have to change here. And I could say right now, today, that I feel like everything has happened the way it was supposed to happen. And the timing on this really could not have been better. And I feel like I'm at a point now. It's weird looking back like 2-3 years ago when I was so unsure of myself. Where is my wrestling career going? Like what?
Yeah.
Not feeling that love to now today. I've never been so excited in my life for these things that I have coming up, and the way I've brought back the Bear Bronson character and the way that I've presented myself just even in the past few months. I just feel like things are right again for me.
Yeah.
And it feels great, man. It feels really great. And I would say my mindset right now is I feel like over the past few years, and again, I want to reiterate, I'm very grateful, but I do feel like I was put in a box.
Yeah.
Right before I had left, I'd spoken to an office person, where I'd asked them like, "Hey, we're being very good team players. We do everything that's asked of us. We give zero pushback. Tony really likes the Iron Savage's characters. He's kind of the only one that did. Like, because he loved the the motorboating stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I feel like I can take anything and just try my best to have fun with it. And I do feel like that was a little to my detriment because it is something that he thought was very entertaining. And I was like, okay, great. I'm making my boss happy. And I'd ask them, is this something that can grow bigger?
Yeah.
Over the next year? Can we rise up the card? Can we, whatever? And they were very honest with us when somebody had got back to me and said, no, they just see this as an enhancement thing. And that's where I was like, oh man, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Sure.
Like, like that answered it right away to where I believe that was that wasn't the last straw, but that was a big straw where when they had told me that, I said, oh, what I'm doing isn't right. This isn't right. I can't, I am now, it is confirmed I am being complacent with my spot. Because this is something that like CM Punk says is something that Stone Cold Steve Austin says. If you are in this business and you are in a company and your goal isn't to be the top guy,
shouldn't be there,
or even just close to the top guy, yeah, you shouldn't be here. And I believe that too. And that's like, listen, when I had gotten into wrestling, when I had started as a wrestler, your dream isn't to be the guy that is already in the ring and loses in 30 seconds. Your dream is to main event WrestleMania. Your dream is to be a star, be a top guy, be the best performer that you could possibly be. So when they had told me that was it was like sirens went off in my head. I was like, I have to get the fuck out of here. And that's no knock on them either. They have a lot of signed people. They have a lot of people they need to cater to. Tony Khan and AEW, they're not sitting at home thinking about Bear Bronson, so I don't blame them for that. That's not their fault. So that is where I was like, okay, I need to pull back, and I need to, when I do leave, I need to I gotta not start over, but I have to recollect. I have to change.
Sure.
So
sure.
I believe, in answer to your question initially, like, where's my mindset at? It is doing everything that I want to do and making sure I'm, one, the best performer I could possibly be. Two, I'm doing everything that I want to do, everything that I aspire to do. And three, I think possibly even the biggest of all is making sure I'm never put in a box again. And when I say put in a box, I mean like viewed in one way.
Yeah.
So
and and kind of on the flip side of that, it's been a pretty monumental year for you. Last year, you shared your story publicly and coming out as bisexual, and it resonated with a lot of people, including major outlets and myself included. So what has the response meant to you over the last year in regards to coming out?
So that was really funny. That was something I did not think anyone would care about. And again, I'll bring it back to my wife. She is somebody who really is just such a huge part of that, because being bisexual, it's something that, like, you grow up and you're constantly questioning yourself, and you're constantly like, am I gay? Am I not gay? Am I what is going on? And like, I would say growing up, like, I didn't really understand terms, and I didn't understand labels and stuff like, so it just always questioning myself. And when you do meet, eventually, I met a woman, fell in love with a woman. So when that happens, you're like, well, all those thoughts, like, they don't matter anymore, but they do, because they just still linger. And she is somebody who is pansexual, and when we had started having these conversations, she had made me realize, like, well, no, like, it does matter. Yeah, we're together, but like, that stuff, you can't just suppress parts of your life. You can't just, like, and a big part of that, like, in her words, is living your truth, and just saying, like, am I married to a woman? Yeah, but this is part of my identity. This is something that is a part of me. So regardless, it is just, hey, this is me, and it's funny because even though that is all true, and that she helped me really, I'm very lucky, because it's so scary to open up to people and not know how it's going to be perceived. And I feel like anybody in these positions, while they're opening up, there is a part in your brain that says, I might regret this, and I might just say, like, why the hell did I do that? Why? I should have just kept it in. And I'm very lucky that I'm surrounded by people that embrace that. And what's the way that, if you look back, my wife had just made a tweet about Pride Month and being pansexual. And it was something where you post a photo of you and your flag. And all I did was just, I was stuck at an airport in, oh man, I forgot where it was for AEW, but I was stuck outside of an airport because flight was delayed. Ubers were taking hours to get to the airport, whatever. And I was just outside in the sun. And I was like, hey, who cares? I took a picture of myself, put the bisexual flag. That's it. No caption.
Yeah.
And then my phone lit on fire. And like, it just blew up like crazy, to where I was like, holy shit. Like, I did not think anyone would care at all. So then I put out a statement about it, just to talk about it, I guess, and be like, hey, I didn't think anyone would care. Like, thank you all for being so cool and whatever. And that was where my family's on the internet, and so I had thought about them the next day, and I was like, I should probably call them, because I don't want them to just see these headlines and be like, what the fuck? Like, So I called them, and I was like, hey, have you guys been on the internet? And they were like, no, we've been really busy with the family business. Like, what's up? And I was like, okay, well, this is something you're going to see when you go on your phone later. And I just wanted to tell you. And I told them why it came up, like all this stuff. And we had, I think we spoke on the phone for an hour. And it was great. And it was just I felt like I wanted to run through a wall after that phone call, where I was like, man, I got it so good. I'm so lucky. Then like my brothers called me. My brothers were like, hey, I'm like,
yeah,
what's up? And they're like, you want to chat? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you want to talk about? And they're like, saw some stuff on the internet, like, so that was great. And my brothers are the coolest. And, they're fun. My brothers are great. So just the reception overall was just great. Even AEW was awesome with that, because I had like Aubrey Edwards and Anthony Bowens and these people reach out, and they're like, we want you to be a part of Heels. They want you to be a part of like the Pride Month stuff. And I was like, this is so very, very cool stuff. I was in on like an AEW Heels meeting, which was like, I thought the coolest thing ever. It was such a positive community of like just people just talking about whatever. And it was a call with me, Nyla Rose, Anthony Bowens, and Aubrey Edwards. And we were just answering questions about like just whatever people had questions about, just about your sexuality and all this stuff. And it was just so fun, so much fun. It was great. It was great. It was very rewarding, very rewarding.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, no, we greatly appreciate you doing that. That inspired a number of people, myself included. So, podcast that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you're good. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to go a whole nother direction. Cage of Survival at GCW.
Yeah.
Deathmatch, big leap. How are you prepping for that? What's your mindset going into that? And are you ready for the violence?
Definitely. Definitely. So that's also something that's really funny to where that is something I would say coming out of a contract where you spent so many years and you're constantly just saying yes, and you're constantly just saying like, okay, I'll do that if you need, you're not, I would say over the course of the years in AEW, you lose touch with your creativity, and you lose touch with like, because you're kind of just it gets to a point where you're just doing whatever they want you to do. You're not doing things for yourself, and you kind of lose control over how you're presented and all this stuff. And you're kind of just catering to whatever it is they want. And coming out of this contract, this is something that I have fantasized about for my entire career. When I was in high school, I was very, my love for deathmatch wrestling goes very far back. It's something I've always kept in touch with. I've always kept my thumb on who the who's who is, the best moments over each year. Because I'm always very still much a fan of wrestling. A lot of people, like when you get into wrestling, you're very pressured into like, oh, when you go over the guardrail, you're not a mark anymore, and all this stuff. And that's not how I was trained. Brian Myers was very much like, no, I'm a mark too. We're all marks, like you're not above anything, So if you want to still go be a fan, go be a fan. And I was like, well, I love that because I am a fan. So, and that was just something I never lost touch with. And I have a lot of friends in deathmatch wrestling. I have a lot of like both that are deathmatch wrestlers and fans, and people that love it. And, it's a whole different life. And coming out of AEW, I talked to my wife, because this is something you should definitely talk to your wife about. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing a lot of things. There's a lot of things I'm going to be setting out for coming out of this contract, but I'm going for, this is for me. I need to do this for me. I'm not looking at like, how is this going to benefit my career? I'm not going to be making fucking $1 million off this match, So like, when it's like, if the question was like, why are you doing this? It's for me. It's for my love for wrestling. And man, it's something that I have like fantasized about for a very, very long time. And even I was walking my dogs today and I was like, holy shit, I'm doing it. And GCW, man, was so cool about it because I had just kind of randomly showed up at the show in Philly right before the pay-per-view. And I wasn't going to the pay-per-view, so I just went to the show just to hang. I have a lot of friends there, just to hang out and just watch a sick show. And I had talked to Brett and I talked to GCW and been like, hey, I know this is kind of random, but I'm leaving AEW in June, and if you have room anywhere, this is something I want to do. And they definitely were like, all right, like that is random. Yeah, sure. But yeah, okay, cool. And I was like, that easy? All right, cool. Sweet. That wasn't, it was very much like, okay, yeah, we'll see, we'll see what we have available and we'll get back to you. And it's very short. It's very brief, conversation. And then I kind of waited a little bit, like, okay, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? And then they had told me, somebody had reached out to me and said, like, yeah, they're going to do it at Cage of Survival. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay. So this isn't going to be on, like, a smaller show where it's like, here's this cute little match. This guy wants to try deathmatch wrestling. We'll just put it on the show and let him just scratch his itch. It was like, oh, shit, it's on their biggest show of the year, arguably.
Yep.
One of their biggest shows of the year, against Slade as a featured match. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. So it's something I'm just so excited about. And I'm not going to get into, like, I'm very interested in, because I know what I want to do. And I will say, I think people are going to be very surprised.
Good.
We can't wait.
Pumped for it. Yeah, I'll pump.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. I'm the type too, and I'll just leave you with this. Like, I don't half-ass anything. So I'm very excited to just give myself to this and just whatever happens. And I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I really just want to have fun, and the fans could love it. Fans could hate it. They could be like, hope I never see this fucking guy ever again. But I just know, I'm going either way. I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to make sure it's at least something that I could look back on and be like, fuck yeah, I did that. Fuck, I finally fucking did that. Yeah.
So. Love that. I mean, the attitude going into this summer is crazy, and we can't wait to see what it is that you do next. Bear, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media?
So on Twitter, it's at Bear Bronson BC, and on Instagram, it's Bear Bronson _ I believe, yeah. If you just type in Bear Bronson's first thing that comes up. I feel like I've changed it so many times now, just from even changing so many gimmicks in AEW. So now I got it back to Bear Bronson. And then I have brand new shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees that I'm very excited about. So when people go check those out, I hope you like them. And yeah, that's cool, man.
Love it. Thank you so much again, and hope to have you back on soon.
Thank you, guys. I'd love to be back anytime.
Absolutely. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
you to Bear Bronson, and thank you to everybody that has joined us tonight. Podcast Dad, I know we're getting a little long in the tooth as far as this episode, but let's reset really quickly. Thank you to everybody that has joined us. You can find us on X and TikTok at Junkies Pod. You can like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod, but most importantly, do us a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Dad. We are at 475 subscribers. On our road to 500. If everybody heads over to YouTube right now and hit subscribe, we've blown past that goal and we're on our way to 1,000. So tell your friends,
guys.
tell your mom, tell everybody.
Come on. We can get awesome interviews like that. Come on, keep subscribing. Keep subscribing, please. That was so much fun. Thank you again to Bear Bronson. That was a blast. Let's subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can keep doing that. We love doing this part. Is amazing. Getting to continue to support independent wrestling is what I think the two of us live for at this point. When we started this, I don't think we intended this to turn into an indie wrestling kind of pod, but I love
if it isn't fun
so much. Guys, please help us get there, and we just want to keep doing this, and we want to keep having fun. Give those independent wrestlers a platform to come on and just be themselves. Just like Bear Bronson was saying, just be themselves.
Yeah. It's more important than ever. I feel like we got to kind of talk about the elephant in the room here. A couple of major releases over the last 24 hours. R-Truth and Carlito released by WWE, or I guess the contracts are not being renewed, I guess is the proper verbiage here. R-Truth, that shocked the hell out of a lot of people. Just came off of Saturday night's main event against John Cena in a losing effort. But if we knew that was the last match that we were going to see of Ron Killings, then I would have savored it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's unfortunately right now it's kind of the nature of the beast with what WWE's doing. TKO came in and said, we're going to make a lot of money, and that's what they're doing. I don't want to say anything, ill will or anything like that, but, sleeping on it again, like R-Truth is 54 years old. Looks great.
Yep.
Can still
Yep.
perform. Hopefully he can come back in some kind of trainer, agent, something role. Hopefully a Legends deal, like something like that. Maybe this is kind of more of a transactional thing, hopefully. But like R-Truth's been there forever.
Yeah.
He was great at what he did. I think I talked about it maybe last week or the week before. Like he is really like that model of they give you anything, you do it 1,000 miles per hour, and you will have a job for life. No doubt in my mind, first ballot Hall of Famer, deserves it. Yeah, it sucks. It's the nature of the beast. But I think we're now learning kind of what a non Vince McMahon company is, if that makes sense. If that makes kind of what I'm saying. We're seeing more logos on stuff. We're seeing more advertising. We're seeing Mania
You saw what's
going
coming
back.
next, right?
Which one is that?
Slim Jim.
I did. I sent that in the group chat. Slim Jim on the table. Look, they're going to make money. We have to look at this now as not a family.
This is not a family business. Yeah.
It's not a family run business anymore. It's somebody bought this company. It is now an asset. And I'm hoping that it's not to the fans' detriment. We talked a little bit about it last week about kind of ticket prices where they are, and hopefully still listening to fans. But at the end of the day, they're trying to run a business, and that family aspect is not there anymore. Like they're here to make money and the most money they can because they are now invested in the WWE. So these are some of the things we're seeing. We're seeing rumors about The Miz. Like you said, Carlito's out. Like, are they looking at these vets and going, are we getting the most out of it? It's kind of like, I'll equate it to like NFL teams. Like, sure, there's players on your team that you love and kind of support and want to see do well, but if they're not cracking that first, second string, are they just there? And are they taking up opportunities for fresher faces and for somebody to come in and do something? It's a little different because it's wrestling and it's more entertainment wise, but it's tough, because you saw the support for R-Truth. You saw the support for Carlito. It's they're locker room guys. So that's why I'm hoping they can come back in some kind of different role. Like R-Truth as an ambassador would be amazing. Carlito as an ambassador would be amazing because they're trying to continue to expand, into Puerto Rico as well. So that would be somebody good to have in your pocket. It sucks, right? It's the nature of the beast. It sucks. R-Truth was shocking though. It was, I mean, recently a tag team champion, like you said, was just on Saturday night's main event. Hopefully that was, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not fruitful, but hopefully that was fulfilling for him to, hey, I got to wrestle John Cena one more time kind of thing. So I was very long-winded. I'll let you go. I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, no, it's super crummy, and I'm trying to find this tweet. I think I found something I thought that was interesting, worth talking about here regarding TKO right here. So this is from Alyssa at But Why Alyssa. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, this is her theory. So I'm just kind of thinking about it this way. TKO is $3 billion in debt. Endeavor, which owns 51% of TKO, is also in the debt to tune of billions. WWE is essentially operating as a therapeutic money siphon at this point in time. So we're left with an increasingly soulless husk of a company outwardly seeking money above all else. To be clear, it was always business seeking money, but there was always a degree of humanity lacking. That's the standard for your everyday big corporate business. It's just more transparent now. There's a longer tweet on her official X account, but it does create some interesting things to talk about here of the growing pains of a merger and an acquisition of what was a already multi-billion-dollar company that you're merging with another multi-billion-dollar company, and all that goes into that acquisition, that merger. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that end product, and we never really see anything about the financial, not necessarily fallout, but ramifications of when you do merge two major companies like that.
I mean, I like that word, a little bit more transparent, right?
Yeah.
And it's not as bad, I think, as it used to be, where they just straight up released it. They're just saying, hey, your contract's not being extended, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So after this contract's not extended, they can go do their thing. So it's not, I won't say as heartless as it used to be, but, at least there's that option where it's like, hey, we're just not going to renew it. After this is done, you can still go make money off your name. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's just, I think, you and I said it at the same time, and it's just, I think it said it best. It's just, it's not a family business anymore. Like, they don't care what you've done. They see dollar signs, and as unfortunate as it is, like, we have watched WWE for 40 plus years operate as a family run business. And it's just, it's not that anymore. It's way more corporate, and this is what happens. I mean, when they bought UFC, they cut Chuck Liddell immediately. Again, don't care what you've done. Are you bringing us money now? I know you threw it in the chat the other day. Oh, he's a top merch seller. Is he in the top 10?
I believe so. I believe at the time he was.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like they're I don't think they would just make these moves not thinking strategically from a business standpoint. So it just it sucks. I get the backlash on Twitter. I get the backlash all over social media, but I think we just have to look at this differently now.
Yeah, no, it's and there's certainly going to be a lot more discussion to come. It's just we hadn't had a chance to really speak about it. Moving on to Monday Night Raw, a quick preview. A couple of qualifying matches for Money in Bank this weekend. Liv Morgan, Ivy Niles, Stephanie Vaquera making her official Monday Night Raw debut. That's a tough one to put Liv and Stephanie in that same match there.
It is very tough. Man, I say you put Stephanie in it. That's just me. Like, just debut her in that ladder match, but not having Liv Morgan in it also is because Roxanne's in it, right?
I believe so. Yes, Roxanne has qualified.
I mean, so there's that storyline too. Maybe Roxanne accidentally cost her. I don't know.
Yeah,
I say
Julia
Stephanie
is also qualified as well.
Yeah, I would say Stephanie. I wouldn't be surprised though if it was Liv.
That's fair. I like that.
No, also got. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We've got CM Punk, AJ Styles, and El Grande Americano. El Grande Americano has the opportunity to wrestle twice this weekend, once for the AAA Mega Championship against El Hijo del Vikingo, and could be in Money in the Bank.
Yeah. I don't know who wins this because of the SmackDown result. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, Andrade winning on SmackDown was shocking, I think.
A little bit.
I mean, clearly Punk, I think, would be the favorite. But, there's this theory going around that El Grande could win and then, like, cash in the Money in the Bank on their world champion kind of thing. Like, go over to AAA and do that. Like, it's going to be a great triple threat match. Any one of those three can win. I'm going to say Punk just because I don't know what else he does at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and with Rollins in the match already, it kind of seems natural that and I know that you want to see the briefcase on Seth, but I think that Punk is the way that we keep it off of him.
Oh. I don't want to see it on Seth, but I think it's going to end up on Seth, especially with the stuff saying that Triple H doesn't love the Money in the Bank concept. Like, I think we've seen that with his booking. Like, give it to Seth, get it off him real quick, speed the storyline up. I hope to God LA Knight wins. I hope LA Knight wins. Like, that is going to be my heart pick, even when we even talk about all the other good stuff. But, like, I really want LA Knight to win. I don't think he will, though.
Yeah, that's. We'll get into our full predictions later on this week, but podcast that I think it's time for us to wrap up this episode today. It's great to see you on this fine Monday, and thank you to everybody that joined us tonight, especially Bear Bronson. Remember, you can find us on X and TikTok at Junkies Pod. But most importantly, subscribe to that YouTube channel. Do us a favor, we're on the road to 500. Please help us out. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell anybody within the sound of our voices that loves pro wrestling as much as we do to come join the community. We will be back tomorrow breaking down Monday Night Raw. We'll talk a little bit of NXT. And podcast dad, I gotta say, it's just a pleasure as always to see you.
Love you, bud.
Love you too. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the podcast, Adam, Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies podcast. Until next time, enjoy the grabs.
There he is.
When's the last time we had